Salute. The streets are buzzing. Hope everyone's well. What's good? Great to be with you to talk about the New York Knicks running amok in FIBA action. Got plenty to talk about. As captain Jalen Brunson, together with Josh Hart, picked up their first big win. RJ Barrett and Team Canada picked up a huge win over Fournier in France. Lots to talk about. How have we seen this tournament so far? We'll chop up the results, their games, and much more. Everything Knicks related, together with this FIBA World Cup. As we get closer to training camp and the off season, ladies and gentlemen, the streets are buzzing. Tonight, tomorrow, always salute to the best chat in the biz. What's good, fam? What's good? Hope you're doing well. Let's talk about it. Yeah, Team USA put on a show, winning 99-72 against New Zealand, and we saw some great things. And like I said, we saw some great things from Canada, mostly in their game, defeating France. RJ Barrett wasn't as efficient as he's been coming into this tournament, but we'll chop it all up. Jalen Brunson went 10 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. We know he's probably not the leading scorer on this team. Some nights he might need to be, but nonetheless, he plays his role, leads the team to the big dub, and it was a good performance overall. New Zealand, hung with Team USA for a quarter or so. The Team USA's filling out the physicality, the opponents. There's not a lot of scouting that would have been needing to be done against New Zealand, but they were clicking by the second quarter. Defense, moving the ball, getting out on the break. Team USA looked great for their first game after the first quarter, after those, filling out process was made. But yeah, Josh Hart also played his role like he always does. His defense was solid, outstanding, playing a bigger than his size, above his size, rebounding well. But yeah, Jalen Brunson was very efficient, went 3 of 6. Both, basically all Knicks were in the plus minus, including RJ Barrett as well. So yeah, we'll talk about it. I want to get your thoughts on what you saw, and we'll break it down with the box score and all that. We'll hear from Jalen Brunson post-game. He was interviewed and gave some great quotes. Who else has looked good in this tournament as well? We'll talk about that as the fight for the second round, will heat up. Some teams picked up some big wins. Luka Doncic looked amazing. He went off for 37 points. Karl Anthony Towns, also Dominican Republic, shout out. They had a great performance. Vucevic with Montenegro. Paddy Mills with Australia as well. So yeah, we're into the thick of it. Our guys have played their first game in this tournament, and it's looking like they're going to go deep. Man, New York Knicks deep into this World Cup tournament. And let's hope that RJ Barrett and Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, all have a medal around their neck. Whether they finish first, second, third, we'll see. But France and Fournier, yeah, they need to bounce back. They got absolutely mauled, and it's going to take a lot. They have to come back and face Latvia, Lebanon. Also, they should pick up a win. But Canada face Lebanon basically today. Today in the morning, wherever you're at. And I think, RJ Barrett should play well in that game. He was inefficient. He went 1 of 10. But he was in the heavily in the plus minus. We'll look into that. But yeah, on screen you see Brunson's shot chart. A lot of looks in the paint. Got to the line, and he drained his 1-3 ball as well. So yeah, he continues to shoot the 3 ball well. Salute Julian, Drip Moore. That's a tap. Prometheus, what's good? How we feeling? excited for this Knicks season. It's building up. It's not long until training camp hits. But yeah, like I said, these guys are trying to win that medal, handle their business, and then get back to the States, and get ready for this NBA season. Um, Paolo Banchero was a big standout for me for Team USA. He looks like he's on the rise to being, man, a huge star in the league. Jaren Jackson Jr. was solid defensively. Ant-Man and Tyrese helping out Jalen Brunson there on the perimeter. And like I said, they blew out New Zealand 99-72. The first quarter was very interesting. It just kind of goes to show, teams can get hot. Teams can hit buckets on you. They can get foul calls, and it's an adjustment. Team USA definitely, you could see, we're going through that adjustment period, and that was something that's common. My notes say speed, physicality, those kinds of things as well. The rules are different. You could see those guys actually genuinely get frustrated early on. There was a lot of hard fouls. Man, even Brunson should have got a couple more extra foul calls, I feel. He was bullying his way to the cup like he always does. And I feel like, they were letting a lot of contact go. But credit to Team USA, man, they were playing through the contact. You could tell that was the instruction to just get used to it. And it's going to get more physical, as the games heat up. USA will face Greece, obviously next, but there's no Giannis Antetokounmpo. And then, their other opponent will be Jordan, which had a solid game, but, they won't be any match for Team USA. So it's basically finish top of the group, win games as much as you can by as much margin as possible, and then get to the second round, and then the opponent should get stronger. But basically it's light work for Jalen Brunson and this crew, man. They're so athletic, getting up and down. They look really, really dangerous, especially when they start clicking. King Ribby, salute. Especially, led by Jalen Brunson, right? He's calm, composed. He was basically leading the way, starting from beginning. Helped finish the game out as well. But 3 of 6, very efficient. Not needed to really fill it up, but definitely when the shot clock's dwindling, Brunson showed what he could do there. The skip pass ahead. See there, Brandon Ingram, or that was Bridges, I think, in transition. That was great. Then he's popping the 3 ball there as well. Look at those moves, posting him up. They're just no match. Up and under move. We've seen that about 1,000 times. And then, of course, he gets to the line. He does well. The little floater game also. But unselfish there, picking up assists and all of that good stuff. I'll pull up the box score, and we'll just look at the stats from JB. Before we hear his quotes, I'll play a video post-game. But he was in the plus 13, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, just 1 foul, 2 turnovers as well. So in the plus, played 24 minutes. Maybe that's what we can expect. So keeping him nice and fresh. That's great for the Knicks, right? Obviously, Team USA got a lot of help, and we don't need to see Brunson play 35 minutes on this team. Right, he comes in, starts, makes an impact, goes to the bench, and then comes in again when the time is right and he needs that spark. But there'll be nights. I'm sure he'll score 20 points, and he'll be needed to score 20 points. Trust me, the competition is going to get tougher. We saw if New Zealand can hang for a half or first quarter, there's going to be teams like Slovenia, Dominican Republic, Brazil, obviously Australia, Canada, France, Spain, some of these teams, Germany, they're going to give a challenge, but I still expect Team USA to pull out the gold. If this is how they look in the first game, they're just going to get better and better as the adjustments are made. So yeah, Brunson's picking his spots, knowing when to score or when to distribute. That's great, especially getting into that groove for the upcoming Knicks season. Um, I mentioned, these guys not really knowing their opponents. Like, I mean, I see a few New Zealand players in the local NBL, domestic Australian league, but even then I don't really know their game. So there's no way some of these countries are going to know each other's games. So that's another feeling out process, right? It's just genuine hoopers v hoopers, and the best hoopers end up on top. Salute Dirty Dancer in the building. What's good? Julian says Barrett needs to get less shots this season. He's just not efficient and reliable enough. Time for somebody to take his spot. We need the efficiency at that spot. Yeah, we'll get into RJ's performance. He went, like I said, 1 of 10. And I mentioned, the adjustment, all of those things. Not going to make any excuses for RJ tonight. He was inefficient, like you said. He's playing with really good teammates. With Dylan Brooks, had a good game. Alexander Walker, Lou Dort, SGA. But let's see how it goes for the rest of this tourney with RJ Barrett. But yeah, definitely in the crunch time, we need more efficiency with RJ. I'm looking at his defense. Firstly, is something that I want to see. And the other night he was in the plus minus, in the plus. So we'll look into that. I'll pull up RJ's box score right now. So yeah, like I said, he went 1 of 10. Bully Barrett was a plus 24 in the plus minus. Did some things on the stat sheet, 6 boards and 5 assists. But really, yeah, 1 of 10 in 30 minutes. Team Canada had too much for France, but in other games they're definitely going to need RJ to step up, big time. But yeah, he's passing the ball. He was decent defensively and 24 in the plus minus. But again, that's not necessarily reflective of just Barrett. The team was dominating. One thing I did notice is obviously he shot 7 threes. And I'll bring up the shot chart for these guys as well, so we can peep it. Like I said, yeah, we saw Brunson's shot chart already. He went 3 of 6, popped the 1 3 ball. But yeah, in regards to Barrett's shooting, shot selection, for him to shoot 7 3 balls, there you see. He swished the one on the elbow and then missed the other, remaining 6. So yeah, he went 1 of 6. It appears from deep, and a couple of misses in the paint. So RJ Barrett's 3-point shooting, I expect to get better as his career goes. But right now, in terms of fans wanting more efficiency with RJ, I would start with with shots in the paint, and making sure you're getting good looks there. Master the floater game. You've got Quickley. You got some other good players on the Knicks that are great with the floater game. But yeah, let's see how he does. Playing Lebanon, like I said, he should bounce back. But yeah, he's going to play some tougher opponents. Latvia looked excellent. I think they scored the highest total for this tournament against Lebanon, smashing them, scoring 109 points. So Latvia, the Bertans brothers, absolutely splashing it. So they might give Canada a challenge. But yeah, there's certainly going to be a lot more challenges coming up for the next round, fam. Yep. Keep the buzz coming in the chat. Salute. The streets are buzzing. Smashing that like button. The New York Knicks off-season is coming to a head. And after this tournament's over, it'll be training camp and we'll be into it. Dirty says the World Cup's way too long. Yeah, I've heard a lot of comments about people saying there's too many countries in it too. Egypt, Lebanon, Cape Verde, Jordan, Not throwing shade. They obviously qualified through their region. They deserve to be, playing the biggest stage. But yeah, there's some countries that probably deserve to be in this tournament as well ahead of them. That's about the World Cup, the regions. But yeah, one could argue the second round could just be eliminated, and we just play one round and then straight into the group round and then straight into the knockout round as well. Yeah, Julian says, why are you going 1 of 10? It's not working. Pass the rock. That was his problem last year. Yeah, I feel like he's obviously, he's dubbed the Maple Mamba. We see SGA getting a lot of credit now as the poster boy, the golden child now with Jamal Murray. I think RJ Barrett definitely wants to, his confidence doesn't waver and he wants to show that he's still the guy, and he can help his country, win a medal. But yeah, I think it's up to the coach as well to coach these guys, help them see the floor better. But yeah, to me, the 3 ball is just there's no need to be shooting volume, like you said, when you're not from 3, when it's not going down as well. Yep. Yeah, Dirty, give us some thoughts on Rokas. I didn't see that game. What did you see specifically? Of course, we're talking about Rokas Jokubaitis. The New York Knicks have his draft rights, but I don't know if he's going to make it to the Knicks at any point. But it's going to be interesting. He has ambitions to be in the league at some point. Also, yeah, in talking about the adjustments for these players, I'm trying not to overreact over one game because there's the adjustment. We know it's very, very physical. We saw dudes get chippy. In the Australia game, I saw Joe Ingles, slip on one of those silly decals on the floor there as well. He banged his elbow up and got pissed at the referee for not stopping the play. Basically, for minutes of the game went by with the floor all wet. Players were slipping all over the place as well as the decals. But yeah, the physicality, you can bang. No 3-second defensive in the paint. 10-minute quarters as well. One thing I disagree with, and I've just been reminded by watching this, that the score doesn't stop when a point's are scored, and when it's an inbound. The clock just keeps running. So we heard the commentary say Jalen Brunson was smart. He told his teammate to hold on to the ball towards the end of a quarter. I think there was 26 seconds remaining. And he was like, just hold on to it for 3 seconds before you pass it in, and we get the final possession. So that was correct. You could just hold on to the ball. The clock keeps running. So the speed is something that these players are trying to adjust to as well. The physicality, the rules, all of that. All of those things. But yeah, speaking of Brunson, let's hear what he had to say post-game. As he's the leader of this team. He's trusted by Steve Kerr. All of those things.
Yeah, I mean, it's all part of the game, first game, and we weren't really worried, but we had to pick up the intensity a little bit. And, can't take anyone lightly in this tournament, but we got on track, and then we didn't look back at that.
How you guys are getting used to this transition between NBA basketball and FIBA basketball?
I mean, we have no choice but to get used to it now. I mean, it's tournament time, and we got to get ready to go, and we got to put the pedal to the metal, man. Just go right at it.
What do you think about New Zealand as a team, as a rival today?
Yeah, they played hard. I got to give them credit. They played a lot of passion. They played hard, and in that first quarter, they really came out strong, and we were able to bounce back. But a lot of credit to them, and much respect.
Jalen, how are you going to approach the game against Greece?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be ready to go, and I think first and foremost, we got to respect every opponent, and be ready to go from the start. And we played them last week, and so they're going to be ready to go, and they know what we do. We know what they do, so we'll go from there.
Would it be more of a challenge for you if Giannis was here as well?
I mean, I'm focused on the people that are there. So, I mean, they have great players on that court, on that team, no matter who's there or not. So you got to respect them, who's there or not.
Can you talk about the second unit, especially Austin?
I mean, Austin and Tyrese, man, they're incredible. They're amazing. Two players that get that spark going, and they play the game so freely, and it's really fun to watch.
How do you analyze your own performance tonight?
I need to play better. First and foremost, I need to start the game with more energy, better. And we can't be down like that early in the game. But I think as the game went on, I got better. But it's all about how you start the game, and I got to be better in the beginning.
Jalen, what can you say about the crowd here in Manila? What can you say about the crowd here in Manila?
I mean, they're amazing. It was packed today. I really felt the energy. So there's a lot of passion in the sport, especially in this country.
Yeah, there we have it. Some great quotes from JB. Pull up his highlights again. He was very efficient, like he always is, doing his thing, and leading this team. No, just doing what this team needs. And I think it's, for some of these guys, it's still like a humbling experience because, one, they're not used to playing with all these other stars always, and they're used to being the man on their team. A lot of these guys, Anthony Edwards is a guy who can get tunnel vision a lot. But I thought, Brunson helped the game flow. He helped, he made the skip pass when it was necessary. He popped the 3-ball when he was open. And then he went one-on-one when he needed to, like there, putting the dude in the blender. Hitting the free throws as well. But some people look at stats in FIBA. It's like, it's not the same as NBA. A 10-point, 4 rebound, 4 assist. Some people would look at it as trash in the NBA game. But 25 minutes. And like I said, there's a lot of stop-start play too with this situation. So, we can see Brunson. He'll grow into this environment as the tournament goes on. And I feel like there'll be some games where he'll need to score 20. There might be some games he might have 8+ assists. But I'm also looking at his defense. Do the other teams look at a USA's weakness? Is there whatever on the scouting report for the other team? Who do they take advantage of? Do they go at Brunson? Do they go at Triple J? Try to get him into foul trouble? And do some of those things. We cannot forget about our guy Josh Hart too. So Josh Hart played solid. He was filling in for his role. Hart's minutes were 15 minutes. It was a blowout. He scored 5 points, 4 boards. Was a team high, plus 28. So that lets you know, he's used to this kind of thing. He's the quintessential role player. Is Josh Hart. But shot the ball efficient, hit both free throws. One of 2, didn't get a lot of attempts, but he hit 1 3-pointer. So Josh Hart can spot up, hit the open 3 when needed. And like I said, in terms of Canada's box score as well, we'll continue to talk about RJ Barrett's first game, against France. Another thing I wanted to make, a point I want to make is like, some players play different when there's less stakes, like these warm-up games. For example, we saw RJ Barrett, play amazing, 31 points. These kind of games in the warm-up games. When the competition's tougher, it actually means something, and the defense ramps up, the pressure's up. Also, the other guys are trying to take over a lot. So, that's an adjustment too for Barrett. But shot selection's going to be big. I'm looking for that for this season. Right, we know Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson are the guys offensively on this team. Not to say that RJ Barrett won't top score on some nights, but in terms of the pecking order, he's third in terms of usage. So that's something he's going to have to continue to adjust to, playing with the Knicks, picking his spots, choosing when to drive, when to shoot, as well as, trying to, be more efficient. But like I said, I've always said this, I want him to take more mid-range shots, a couple steps into the 3, from the 3-point line, pull up and hit the mid-range as well. If you're shooting inefficient from 3, it doesn't hurt to take a couple of steps in, or drive like he usually does, and then pull up with a floater or pull up foul line extended prior to barreling into traffic. So yeah, that's some observations as well. So yeah, Dirty's given us some insight on the Lithuania game with Rokas, playing with Lithuania. Struggled shooting the ball, but had some nice drives. Yeah, he does have some good size. He's got some strength. The European game's quite physical. So yeah, I think Rokas is going to be in his wheelhouse in this. And yeah, look to Lithuania to probably get through their group. I mean, they smashed, I think they smashed Egypt. Montenegro smashed Mexico. So then you would think, yeah, Lithuania should beat Mexico and get through. Jonas Valanciunas, still a beast. Some of his shot fakes and drives and slams were crazy. But obviously, in 27 minutes, man, all eyes were on SGA. He went 9 of 19, 8 of 16 from 2, 11 13 rebounds, 6 assists, and was a plus 31. Crazy performance from SGA. So, man, I definitely got Canada going deep into this thing, and which means more games for Bully Barrett. More games. There's going to be, eyes on him. There's going to be critique. But yeah, like I'm saying, there's an adjustment, and I want to see how he handles it. Like I said, tonight, this morning, he plays Lebanon coming up, and Team USA will play Greece in the next game. But yeah, Captain Brunson, learning from this experience, great quotes, like what he said about recognizing the adjustment as well, and doing what the team needs. There he is, obviously always surveying the floor there, but there's been critique about Brunson, also not, being too prone to shoot, to look to the bucket. I feel like that's his role on the Knicks. He definitely is needed to score a lot. On this team, he's not needed to score as much. So this could really get Brunson into that groove of setting up Julius Randle, setting up RJ Barrett, setting up his other teammates, Mitchell Robinson, Quentin Grimes, for this season. I won't be shocked if there's no games where Brunson scores over 15. Also, the USA are going to blow a lot of teams out, and then he's probably going to get rested, like he did last night. 25 minutes is kind of perfect, and it was a blowout as well. So, maybe later in the medal rounds, knockout rounds, if it's going down to the wire, you probably want Brunson. He's probably going to play 30 plus. But given the fact that the defenders can be more physical, I would probably prefer he doesn't isolate as much with this Team USA, because best believe when there's teams like Canada, Australia, bigger teams like Brazil, they've got a lot of size. They're going to really try to bruise Brunson and defend him physically. So we'll see whether he, tries to isolate against them more, force it, or whether he just, moves the rock. But yeah, that's the luxury you can have, where Brunson can just stand in the corner, and he can be a 38% plus 3-point shooter on this team. When the ball gets swung around, Brunson's there sitting in the corner. That's a luxury for a point guard. Also, what did I see from some of Brunson's competition in terms of the Tyrese Halliburton? We'll look into that. So USA's box score. So yeah, a lot of people are talking about Tyrese maybe taking some minutes. Tyrese only played 17, scored 10, he was very efficient. Tyrese shot 2 of 3 from deep, 3 assists, 3 steals. He got active and a block as well. He was plus 13 as well as what Jalen Brunson was. So, Steve Kerr, a veteran player, a veteran coach, I still think he's going to favor Jalen Brunson late in games over Tyrese. The only time he's going to switch is if I think it's not working in Team USA's favor and the matchup needs to be changed. But I still feel like he's going to prefer Jalen Brunson over Tyrese to close games if he only wants one point guard. There could be games where he plays 2 of them. Those guys definitely did play some minutes together. Dirty feels like Brunson should stay aggressive as he's not out there for his defense. Yep. Definitely his aggression is helping this team in terms of making players commit to D, and then the pass opens up, the lanes open up there as well. But going on what I saw from last night, I'm not taking a lot from that because the competition's going to get a lot better than New Zealand in terms of better individual 1v1 defenders as well. Spain have got a lot of size. Australia got a lot of size on the wing department as well. So, this is a great test for these guys because the competition's high, the physicality's big, and the stakes are going to get higher as the tournament goes along. And it's something rare where we see the New York Knicks starting point guard leading Team USA in a major competition heading in to what's going to be a huge season for the New York Knicks with big expectations. And I think this team's going to be ready. Like we've talked about, the fine tune-up of this tournament for Barrett, for Brunson, for Hart, even for Fournier, if he comes into camp, is going to have these guys really sharp for camp, man. It's going to be, a really competitive camp. Now with France, like Evan Fournier, nothing's changed, my opinion, about him, right? He's still a go-to guy for Team France. Offensively, he's a bucket. He can get it. But defensively, more of the same, man. He was in foul trouble. He was abused on the defensive side. With Fournier, I think the league still knows that he's great offensively in a system. He can shoot the ball great, but I don't think it's going to change his trade stock. I don't think it's really going to change anything drastically. He's coming into a final year. It's expiring. As much as people want Evan Fournier traded, I could really see us bringing him coming into camp, really, and just sitting on the bench till the trade deadline or something like that until something makes sense. Obviously, there's still a little bit of time till the season begins, but it's not looking likely in terms of a Fournier trade. Some other free agency news though dropped where finally PJ Washington and his situation with Charlotte was decided. There was talk about whether he was going to pick up a qualifying offer as well. That's very rare. We don't see that very often. And what did we see? We saw an agreement on a shorter deal, a 3-year, $48 million deal for PJ Washington. So he's no longer available. He's coming back with the Charlotte Hornets. So it's probably the best move for the Knicks because he could have really helped another team, another contender. PJ Washington coming back with the Hornets, I think that doesn't change my outlook for the Hornets. They're going to be, fighting for a low play-in spot, high lottery spot as well, injury dependence, all of those things. But PJ Washington was a great player, great target. Some teams missed out, but money talks. He got about $15-16 million per for the 3 years. So yeah, that's something that's going to help the Hornets. We obviously talked about the Knicks' lack of rotation spots as well. PJ Washington would be a big upgrade for us in the wing spot, backup power forward spot. But really, I mean, like I was pretty impressed with Josh Hart dealing with the physicality in this game. There's obviously the talk he plays above his size. He's a good defender. I'm not sweating the backup power forward spot yet. I do think they'll bring in a veteran still, but we'll wait and see, right? Isaiah Roby, Daquan Jeffries, Fournier spot, Dinamo Skapantsev. He looked promising in the summer league, and I feel like him coming into camp, he could really help this team. He's a veteran as well. On the talk about trading Fournier, Dirty says trading Fournier for salary beyond this year pushes us way too close to the first apron. Yeah, you know what this front office likes to do. They like to wait till the time is right. I think trading Fournier would be kind of forcing it. Obviously, it got to that point where he came out and made those comments to a French media outlet. I feel like that was obviously his opportunity to vent. He just got out of the States and got back into our FIBA camp, and I feel like that was the height of his frustration. Now, obviously at the deadline, it might be easier to trade him because there's less salary for the new team. Maybe more deals are out there. Maybe more things make sense for that Evan Fournier trade. But if I'm a betting man, and I had to bet, is Fournier on this team coming into training camp versus not, I would put my money on that he's still on the team. But I wouldn't rule out a trade. Obviously, you never know. But obviously, his FIBA play offensively is, it's still good to see. Like I don't hate Evan. He just is what he is for this team. He's not a guy we rely on. He's no longer a starting player basically since the first season we got him. After getting him from Boston, he broke the 3-point shooting record. Obviously, we didn't have a great season. It was the season we missed the playoffs. And all of that. Nothing's changed really from that. Evan Fournier can still shoot well. He can move the ball. He can put the ball on the deck. But we simply have better pieces on this team. Much more versatile. With that said, obviously, he is a better 3-point shooter than RJ Barrett. He's a better 3-point shooter than some of our guys off the bench, Hart. But DiVincenzo's come in here basically now, so any thought of Evan Fournier getting minutes, like he knows that it's not likely. It's not going to happen. Yep. Salute Charisse, what's good? Fournier is staying with the team this year. The real question is, are we really paying IQ 100 milli? That's the great question, man. I'm glad you brought it up. And I feel like Fournier is staying with the team this year because it's an expiring deal until we get an opportunity to make that blockbuster move and his salary can be used. But if we extend Quickley, that's also salary, like you said, we can use in a trade later in the year if possible. Like I said, going back to if I'm a betting man, I'm betting that we are going to pay Quickley. I just can't. We've always taken care of our guys. I think Leon Rose and also James Dolan and that, they've had no problem paying money to rookies and extending them. They did it with Barrett, and I think they'll do it with Quickley as well. Because Quickley's a guy whose play you expect to go up. So even if we re-sign him, I do think his value around the league is still going to be retained, provided that's at a solid number. a guy like a contract like Dirty says 5 years, 100 mil with a player option, something like that. Now, yeah, that's also the question. Like, also, if I'm a betting man, I don't think Emmanuel Quickley is going to be on this team long term without a consolidation trade, possibly without someone else traded. For example, if Grimes or Barrett are traded one day, if that happens, I could see us keeping Quickley. But if those two stay in New York Knicks and we re-sign Quickley for a year, I could expect us to trade Quickley. So yeah, to your question, I don't see us keeping Quickley long term if we extend him, unless someone else is traded. Because yeah, like you said, it doesn't make much sense paying 100 mil to a guy who's coming off the bench. I think, or too many guys coming off the bench. Like Dirty says, I know we paid Hart 90. The thing with Hart is his versatility allows us to play him as a starter also. So I guess if you are paying a bench guy, the fact that they can fill in starting for you is also good. But for me, Quickley is just the limitations of his position. Like I said, 6'3". If he was 6'5", 6'6", he could play a bit bigger. Maybe different questions would need to be asked. Quentin Grimes, a big year coming up for him. Hopefully he stays healthy, and hopefully Quentin Grimes has a breakout year. But it's not too far-fetched to think that Emmanuel Quickley could have a better career than Quentin Grimes. Really, we just don't know. We don't know yet. But Quentin Grimes' versatility and all of that, really has this organization really high on his ceiling. What's good, Sherwin? Salute. Sherwin says we can't pay IQ. We're over the cap. For every dollar we spend on IQ, the NBA charges us that extra as well. Yeah, look there. That's the thing they're gonna really ask themselves. If we do extend IQ, it's to trigger a future move, I feel. So, but basically is, what's the point? My rationale right now, I'm thinking, what's the point in not extending Quickley, right? You basically allow him to play the final year of his contract, and then he probably has less trade value later because his future is kind of murky. His contractual future is murky. Whereas if you could extend IQ at a solid number, and then you can explore future trades later, then I could see the Knicks preferring that, and all of those things. So, like you said, yeah, that's not a lie. Tax is the tax. It's high, but I don't think that's going to stop the New York Knicks from still extending Quickley, but with a future possible trade in mind. And then, of course, yeah, we're 1 year away from Quentin Grimes, like you said, being extension eligible. That's, yeah, the money's adding up. Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, Barrett. Like I said, it's early in the season, and this will play out. I know, yeah, Knicks fans, we love to talk about the future of the team, always, possible trades, all of those things. We'll always debate it and talk about it. But simply put, yeah, I don't think beyond this season that everyone's going to be here. I could see it for one more year with Quickley, Barrett, Grimes, the whole team. I could see us trying to make a run for 1 year. But the second a star becomes available that the Knicks can put a great package together for, I think they will try to do that. I think the way this front office is thinking and Dolan is that they know this team's going to be competitive coming in. So whatever money they're spending extra, they know that we're most likely going to make playoffs. We're going to sell a lot of merchandise. We're on national TV a lot. We're going to be making a lot of. They're going to be making revenue from MSG Plus, subscriptions, events, merchandise. Like I said, playoff tickets, season tickets. To them, that's a sure thing that they can bank on, and that's great. If they were to sell a few of these pieces, and possibly miss out on a deep playoff run for just a play-in game, that's going to lose this team a lot of money as well. So I think they're okay with the squad paying some of these guys, but I think as soon as the star is available, they're going to try to make that move. And I do think they're happy at least for one more year to see how deep this team can go. If you look at the sum of our parts, we don't have one guy in the top 50 in the league in salary. But things are about to change. Like to Sharice's point, eventually Jalen Brunson is going to have to get the Supermax, Megamax. Julius Randle is also going to have to get paid after this contract needs extending as well. So yeah, the extension of IQ, man, it's going to tell us a lot. But he's very valued around the league because, he's a two-way guy. Absolutely. And I guess the best thing we could hope for is, that a lot of questions get answered early in the season. To that, like, what do I mean? I mean, like, let's say after 30 games, we know Emmanuel Quickley's taken a huge leap, or RJ Barrett has taken a huge leap, or Quentin Grimes has taken a huge leap. Something that tells us early in the season that, okay, we can now bank on this. We can make decisions around this financially. All of those kind of things. Whereas if everyone kind of comes back looking the same, it's kind of like there's still question marks. There's still question marks on Quentin Grimes' ceiling, Emmanuel Quickley's ceiling, and RJ Barrett's ceiling as well. So, it might be wishful thinking to say that in 30 games something's going to look really different. But, at the very least, hopefully the play stays the same, and there's tangible improvements in all of their games. But I agree. Not everyone can get paid. Exactly. Eventually, to compete for a chip, you need a few dudes earning the bulk of the salary. Now, we could talk about some teams that have won the chip, like the 04 Detroit Pistons. We could talk about it in future shows about how salary is divided among championship teams. But generally, there's the 2-3 lead dogs that are on your Supermaxes or whatever, and the other guys are on mid-levels and all of that. So to boast that the New York Knicks don't have a player in the top 50 in salary, that shows that the New York Knicks have been able to spend money wisely. That's not disputable. But does it necessarily say that we're getting closer to a championship? Like I said, stars win chips. You usually have dudes on super maxes to help you try to win, right? Denver Nuggets, right? Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, right? They're going to lead you to a chip, a dynamic duo. But they're two guys that need to be on super maxes. Can you win a chip if you've got like 4 guys earning 20, 25 mil? Nothing's impossible, but based on what we see around the league and teams that win, it's not likely. You talk about Golden State, you got a couple of Hall of Famers there. They're all earning the Supermax as well. So someone's going to have to, earn all this bread, right? We know Jalen Brunson's probably going to be the first Supermax guy. The New York Knicks sold on Julius Randle being the next, another Supermax dude, or maybe him together with another a 2A kind of guy, and they share that money. But But yeah, Payne, Grimes, Quickley, Barrett, Hart, and DiVincenzo, and that it's going to be tough. It's really going to make this team the salary cap stretched. But that doesn't mean that future trades can't happen as well. You can sign all these guys, and then make the moves. I think when the star is available. Yeah, I like this competition. Like you said, Charisse, everyone's playing for that contract, playing for the role on this team. Someone other than Fournier is going to be benched this season, or their minutes go down. I think it's going to be dependent on injuries, how the game is going. But I hope that he doesn't overplay Josh Hart too much, because I think Josh Hart's a great role player in the right role, but offensively in the playoffs, he's not someone you can really rely on for 30 minutes as well. Yeah, he could still close some games out, but yeah, I like shooting. I like the shooting element as well. Yeah, it's all about being a great coach. You've just got to pick the right moments. I really feel like DiVincenzo could be a guy to take more minutes from Quickley or Hart off the bench. Yeah, he's a guy who's a great shooter and a great defender as well. Maybe him and Quickley together take up a lot more of those minutes. But yeah, let's see. But yeah, the chat's buzzing. Salute to Knicks Nation out here, smashing that like button for the New York Knicks. Big season ahead. It's basically starting now, right? This is big competition for our leader, Jalen Brunson and Hart. Barrett about to take on Lebanon later today or in the morning where you're at. Hopefully he bounces back offensively, moves the ball well, defends well. But yeah, Canada's a problem, and they're going to go deep into this tournament. We heard quotes from Jalen Brunson after the game, speaking to the media about adjusting to this FIBA game. It's different. You could tell him get frustrated. He was getting hacked. The physicality was there. Dude's getting banged up. And yeah, this is just going to get tougher. Hopefully, knock on wood, no injuries. He comes into Knicks training camp fully healthy after winning the gold with this team. But yeah, he can do it all there. Knows when to pick his spot. There are two fundamental skills that I like about Jalen Brunson too. And I know this frustrates a lot of fans, and it frustrates Clyde as well. Is one, not picking up your dribble, right? To be a great player in the league, great basketball player, you need to master the dribble, right? Shooting is shooting, right? Shooting is something that you need to practice a lot. You need to be efficient. But dribbles are something you don't need a hoop. It's just you and the ball, and you just work on your handles. If you can keep that handle alive under duress, that opens up a lot of possibilities to make the pass or the shot as well. Then you're not forced to do what the defense wants you to do. But the second thing is not leaving your feet with the ball, right? Not jump passing. You see Brunson, he likes to keep 1 foot on the ground all the time, so he can either pivot, he can reverse pivot, up and under, he can pump fake. But yeah, like I said, see, he leaves his feet there. He kind of knows he's doing the floater, but sometimes he'll keep 1 foot on the ground as well, just so he's not jump passing as well and not turning the ball over. That's what makes Jalen Brunson really solid in terms of assist to turnover ratio, because if you are like Derrick Rose late in his career, Julius Randle jump passing a lot, teams are going to pick that off, especially the cross court pass there as well. So Quickley did get better at keeping his dribble alive too, surveying the floor. One of our Knicks, maybe future Knicks, Rokas, like Dirty was watching with Lithuania. Rokas Jokubaitis is great at keeping his dribble alive as well. He'll survey the floor, and he'll run the baseline, and he'll keep the dribble alive. With that said, that opens up the pass to the corner, or you can bring it back out as well. A player, what's the opposite to that? A player like Deuce McBride, still young in his career, still learning, still getting stronger. Deuce McBride picks up his dribble too much. He hasn't got as sharp of a handle, especially in the playoffs. Deuce McBride was picking up the dribble. So yeah. Sharice talking about an athletic wing. Yeah, we're definitely getting a good look at it with Team USA. We're looking at Brandon Ingram, Mikal Bridges, a lot of these guys. Ant-Man, Paolo Banchero looks electric. Extra wingspan is great with athleticism as well. Let's see how Leon Rose envisions, finalizing this squad, because we're not far away. We're in a situation where it's basically a team that made the second round, and if the chips fall where they may, we can make the third round, and then we can find ourselves in the final. But yeah, the rest of the league's improving too. Sherwin, you feel like DiVincenzo's here to replace Quick? I can't disagree with that. Possibly long term. Like I said, my feeling is, and my hope is that we keep this thing together for one more year. Outside of a blockbuster trade. If a blockbuster trade for a superstar or all-star is available, you got to do the deal. But if there's just marginal moves like Bogdanovic available from Detroit, or someone like who's past their prime, then I would rather just keep everybody. But I think long term, DiVincenzo could be that cheaper replacement for IQ if you're thinking about it. I know a lot of people are high on IQ's future as well. Is he a starter in the league? Is he not? I think there's more likeliness he is a capable starting player. And I think a lot of teams believe that. But if he's about to get paid $100 million, Dante DiVincenzo's earning $12 million. So that could be the savings that the Knicks look to make in terms of a guy who could kind of do the same things. He could defend, he can shoot just as well. He's a little older as well. Danny, salute. How we feeling? Good evening. Salute. Streets are buzzing. How do you feel the Knicks are going to go this season? Let me know. Do you feel like we'll make a big trade at the deadline? Or do you guys feel like we'll most likely run through the full season with the squad as it is? Obviously, a lot's going to depend on our record, the rest of the East, but I could see us getting off to a really good start, hovering around the 2nd, 3rd, 4th seed for most of the first part of the season. And if you make it to the deadline and you're in the top 4 in seeding, the likeliness of making a big move is probably quite low. So I think that's going to force the Knicks to probably keep it as it is. But yeah, teams to watch out for is definitely Chicago. What do they do with Zach LaVine? Obviously, the current issues going on with Toronto, and whatever happens with this case, that's very unlikely that the Knicks do any business with the Raps. So we've got to look around the rest of the league. I mentioned Bogdanovic in Detroit. Could that be a non-splashy move that the Knicks try to make to upgrade the wing? He definitely brings shooting, but he doesn't fit the timeline. He's older. We'll have to give up stuff to get him as well. The Clippers, Paul George is another fascinating situation out in LA. The clock's ticking on them. The West is going to be crazy, right? If Karl Towns comes back with a vengeance and Minnesota become good, Dallas made improvements. The Oklahoma City Thunder, best believe they're coming up. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of challenges for the Clippers, right? Especially if they don't get James Harden. There's going to be a lot of buzz. Yeah, Deuce McBride and Jericho Sims is going to be the two dudes to lose out minutes, definitely. Early, especially early, unless some injuries happen. But yeah, I like Deuce's ability to come in, change the game a bit with his D. Jericho Sims might get some spot minutes at the 4, but yeah, look, those guys are on the outside looking in. Right now, they're situational, I feel. But the fact is they're super cheap in terms of their contract. The Knicks extended them, or the Knicks picked up their option for another year on something like less than $2 million. So it's great to have two pieces that are young, can sit on the bench if you need them. They can come in, they can contribute, and we know what they bring. But I think we're going to need them as well if a consolidation trade happens. Yep. Killer says, let's just hope that attitudes don't get involved with the competition. Yeah, I do think there's going to be some heavy competition, like there always is for spots. Dudes wanting to be the man, wanting their own team, like Quickley. In that instance, it's fair that he sees himself as a starting point guard in the future. But look, the NBA is about, do you want to win? Do you just want to get paid, put up stats, and earn accolades, or do you want to win? With that said, the Milwaukee Bucks, like guys like Drew Holiday, had to buy into a role. He could have done more. Dudes went to Chicago, like DeRozan. Like, he took the money. He could have helped a team like the Clippers as well. So, yeah, he took money that he couldn't refuse. I get it. But there's only 5 players on the court. Teams that can defend well, move the ball, and shoot well, they're always in it. Look at Golden State, right? Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond. A lot of those guys do sacrifice as well. The role players around them sacrifice. Andrew Wiggins, Kevon Looney. Kevon Looney could look like a bigger stud with some other team. All of those things. Team and fit is so underrated. People don't talk about it enough. Larry Markkinen goes to the Utah Jazz, with the team built around him, and he could showcase what he can do. Things like that. DeJounte Murray looked like a stud with San Antonio. He goes to the Atlanta Hawks with one of the biggest ball hogs in the league, Trae Young. And he doesn't fit as well. He doesn't look as good. There are quite a few different examples. I feel like Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum may not be the best fit either, because those guys don't like to pass a lot. It's like they just take it in turns. I think Boston really needs a good point guard to make that work. I think with KP. What's good, D? Danny, salute. Trey Murphy the third, please. Amen. Yeah, you mentioned a team I'm really fascinated to look at, which is the Pels. They've got a lot of pieces, and it comes to a point where they're going to have to decide who we keep, who do we pay, how good do we look, and especially this season's riding on the health of Zion. But yeah, he's a guy the Knicks really wanted. That draft, the Knicks just were too good to get up and draft him. A lot of Knicks fans upset that we won too many games as well. We won some meaningless games. There were guys like Tyrese Maxey, Trey Murphy that the Knicks were very interested in. Let's see. they've put RJ Barrett in a trade proposal before to make an upgrade. That doesn't mean they're all the way out on RJ. It doesn't mean that they don't want to keep him. But the facts are they have put RJ in a proposal before in a trade. So, that could be a spot they're still looking to upgrade. Unfortunately, the issues with Toronto is going on. It looks like OG Anunoby's not available, not going to be available yet. But he might end up on another team, and then he might become available. With that said, the reason is he's an unrestricted free agent coming up, so they might trade him at the deadline to a new team, and then maybe that he doesn't give that new team a promise. Maybe he wants to explore unrestricted free agency, just like I think Spider is going to do as well in 2 years' time. The clock's ticking with Cleveland. I'm glad we don't have that kind of pressure yet, because Cleveland have that situation where they need to be good to force Spider Mitchell into thinking that, I want to stay. Because, the power is always with the player. He could choose his destination in 2 years, and the Clippers the Cavs shouldn't make that mistake like the Mavs did, and letting Jalen Brunson get all the way to being unrestricted, because then you lose that asset for nothing. And if Toronto make that same mistake this year, they're going to lose OG for nothing. So maybe they do end up trading OG by the deadline. Let's see. But I find it hard to see Toronto being good, because they've got a lot of good teams in the East right now, but they've lost Fred. They've brought in Dennis Schroeder, and they've re-signed Gary Trent. They've re-signed Jakob Poeltl, but I just don't think they're good enough to be in the top 6 in the East. So a lot of pressure on them, man. But speaking of pressure, Jalen Brunson's taken all of this in his stride. He's leading the team to a big win. They'll face Greece, and then they'll face the next team, which is, I think, Jordan, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, they'll face Greece, and they'll face Jordan coming up. And I think they're going to get all the way to the gold medal game. There's no doubt in my mind that the Team USA will get that far. But who will they face? Will it be Canada? Will it be another clash with Spain? I don't think France, based on what we saw. I really think they're missing some guys. They're missing Frank. They're missing some defensive wing help. We saw Fournier get targeted. Rudy Gobert is not a force, not an offensive force you can throw the ball to get a bucket. And I think there's a lot of other good teams. My sleepers are, don't sleep on Dominican Republic. Don't sleep on Lithuania. Big men in FIBA do pretty well. Valanciunas is a load. He can score inside out. They've got shooters as well. Obviously Canada and Australia, Spain, and I think Germany and Slovenia might go towards the semis, the quarters or the semis. But the competition's going to be tougher on these guys, and I'm looking to see how RJ Barrett also bounces back from his 1 of 10 shooting night. But he did have 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and was in the plus as well. So, RJ Barrett fitting into Team Canada. It's a new environment. It's a different role he's playing. Let's see how he does, right? I'll judge further after the next few games. But the point I want to make also is it just talks about how these warm-up games also don't mean as much either. It's like regular season games and warm-ups. When the stakes are high, like tournament basketball or playoff basketball, that's when we want to see the player thrive, being efficient, making right decisions, and playing under pressure as well. Team USA was challenged early last night and or this morning, and they bounced back as well. They've got a lot of young players that haven't played together, and they're just going to get better as the tournament goes along. See, with Brunson, he chooses his shots carefully. He knows when he can beat the defender, when he needs to isolate, and when he needs to pull up and move the ball as well, right? I love his isolation play, though. The up and under moves, the step backs, all of that. It's a thing of beauty. Knicks won, salute. Knicks should be a top team in the East this season. Yep, I'm feeling the same way. Feeling the same way. Look at the teams around us. You know, there's a lot of turmoil in Philly right now. James Harden, what happens? In Milwaukee, we've got Giannis Antetokounmpo talking about, you know, not signing an extension. Right, that's not what you want to really hear from Giannis, right? If you're a Milwaukee Buck organization or fan. But I guess, you know, he's trying to put pressure on them. He's being real. And he's saying, look, we need to do something. Aging Middleton, aging Drew Holiday. Like, they got Bobby Portis. They kept Brook. But hey, the rest of the East is catching up, man. If the Heat get Dame, the Knicks are coming. Boston is still there as well, right? There's not, you know, I kind of know what Giannis is feeling, because if they think that Bucks team, exactly how it is, can stay the same and continue to win when they got knocked out in the first round, that's setting themselves up for fail. So, and I feel like, yeah, why should he sign an extension if they have a down year again? I think Giannis's legacy is certified already. As he said, he's won a chip. He's restored credibility to the Milwaukee Bucks. They were perennial lottery teams as well. So yeah, the regression, I feel, is real with Milwaukee. But with respect to what they've done and their experience, I've still got them in the top spot. But honestly, it's like that first tier could be anything from Milwaukee, Boston, Knicks, Heat. You know, with Dame, that could be any one of those teams could find themselves on top. Yeah, without the commitment from Giannis, there's no way they pay Drew. Well, that's something to look out for too. So, yeah, the Knicks having guys locked up is helpful. Now, the biggest thing, and I'll keep saying this, what we need is just for our three biggest young players to either show significant improvement or be very consistent, be as good as they were last year, but more consistent, or a significant improvement. And I think the Knicks will get this jolt that people aren't expecting us maybe to get. And I think the Knicks could definitely find themselves leading the East at some point this season. Now, we chopped up the schedule. The schedule's a beast. Overall, it's got some difficult parts and some easier parts. But basically, every team has challenges, so we have to face it head on. And I think our depth is going to be what sets us apart for the rest of the league with this team. Not many teams have three bench players that are capable of starting. Actually, I could say four. Isaiah Hartenstein, Josh Hart, Emmanuel Quickley, and Dante DiVincenzo could be capable starters on any other team in the NBA. Not saying they would replace the starters on the other teams, but capable of starting. Talking about specifically Quickley and DiVincenzo, but Hart and also iHart. So yeah, I think depth is going to be the Knicks' best thing. Health obviously is going to be great. I expect Mitch and Julius Randle to produce more of what they did, health permitting. But yeah, a lot of the attention's going to go to RJ Bully Barrett. Best believe that. Had a great playoffs, no doubt about it. Overall, did some great things. Rose to the occasion when the pressure was high. But the consistency throughout the regular season is still a bit up and down. Great at times, good at times, bad at times. It's a lot of a mixed bag. But the talent is there, no doubt about it. Continue to refine your game, improve on things that you need to improve on with the decision making, efficiency, the shot selection, the dribbling. But yeah, I've always said this. I don't think the fit is great between Randle, Barrett, and Brunson, especially with Mitch in the paint as well. You get a stretch 5, that changes everything. I think you can definitely go all the way with Brunson, Barrett, and Randle if you have a stretch 5. 3 lefties, 3 guys that like to get to the bucket. Mitchell Robinson's there near the bucket. It clogs things up a lot as well. So I go back to the point earlier about fit being everything in the league. Now it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Karl Towns, whether people feel like he's a 4, he's a 5. A lot of pressure under Minnesota. Karl Anthony Towns was excellent for the Dominican Republic. He looks like his 3-point shooting has actually gone to another level. If what I'm seeing is real, the guy's putting the ball on the floor. He's pulling up from way out there. Now, that was never a question, I guess, with Cat. It was about his defense, his hunger, his heart. Is he a doll? Can he bang down low in the playoffs? He's been dominated recently. But the fit with Rudy Gobert is not good, I don't think, as well. So, yeah, that's something that's worth watching moving forward as well, whether the Knicks still explore an avenue for a stretch 5. I think, obviously, Joel Embiid would be the number 1 target. And that even might be more realistic based on what's happening in Philly. I think this is a make or break year for a lot of teams, right? And the Knicks could be there ready to capitalize. Yeah, our depth could be the change up against the top heavy teams. Yeah, all it takes too is a team to get an injury near the top of the East, and I think that changes a lot. Like you said, depth is a lot. That is the issue, I guess, when you are paying a lot of stars top-heavy money, and the importance of drafting, keeping your draft picks so that you've always got younger, cheap talent coming up. And I think Denver did it amazing with, they obviously had their top-heavy guys worthy of winning a chip, and they had guys like Christian Brown, Bruce Brown Jr., on cheaper deals as well that were way underpaid. Obviously people think about Quickley's money, but yeah, we know what's going on around the league, right? Bruce Brown got 22 mil per. Right, not saying he doesn't deserve that, but man, he's a solid complementary wing player, but let's not get it twisted, right? He looked great in the finals, in the playoffs, playing against elite guys, right? Eric Gordon is the 4th best player on that team, right? It's not hard to look good when you've got 4 amazing players ahead of you, and you can just play hard, chip in, and do well. But I don't hate on that. He got paid 22 mil, and now he's going to have to do a lot more heavy lifting with Indy. But yeah, man, if he's getting 22 mil, man, another leap from Quickley. Quickley's a $20 million player. Absolutely. He was robbed of 6 man, and I think, Malcolm Brogdon's probably resume in the league got him that award all the voters were pro Celtics, but yeah, I think Quickly's deserving, right? I think he's a great two-way player, but yeah, these salaries are getting crazy. 22 mil for Bruce Brown. Now we know Josh Hart's basically only signed for 3 years. The fourth year is a team option, and he's on 19 mil. So yeah, that was a solid deal. Quiet money salute. Let's get it. Absolutely agree. That's our advantage. Continuity within the players. Yep. Whilst I do hope Tibbs, or either hires an offensive guy or, tries some new things with DiVincenzo, some new pieces maybe. But I do think the play calling, the play style is probably going to be more of the same. But the positive to that is that the players know the playbook. So it's like, I said this in a previous show, but like training camp, there's really nothing to do for training camp. Really, we're bringing in everyone back. We went further in the playoffs. Training camp's just going to be about getting in shape, or staying in shape, and also competing. Competing for minutes, competing hard. Maybe for the back end of the roster, like dudes like Isaiah Roby, maybe these Exhibit 10 camp guys, Skapinsev, Nathan Knight, Dylan Windler as well. I can't believe I've forgotten about those dudes as well. So yeah, Nathan Knight, Dylan Windler, these guys could really put pressure on the others, I think. So that's going to be good. The jury's still out on Windler. He's been so injury prone throughout his NBA career. He's like 26 years old now, but the talent is there. He can shoot it really well. He's an elite rebounder as well for a wing. Right, this is a dude who averaged 11 rebounds in college. He had a 20 rebound game as well. So yeah, if Windler can just stay healthy, he could be that wing help with a bit of extra size. But yeah, for me, man, if I had to pick a breakout player, it's got to be Quentin Grimes. The dude just knows how to ball. He knows how to handle the ball. He was a point guard growing up. He defends with the best of them on the perimeter. The 3-point shot is real. He just needs to be more consistent. But to take another leap, he needs to get more usage, I think. And that's where it comes into Brunson, Randall, Barrett sharing the ball more. I'd like us to be less predictable. Because, yeah, we know Brunson can isolate every time, hit a difficult shot, get guys, take guys to the rim and get fouled. All of that stuff's good, but it's not how you always want to win games. Right? It can beat you down. It can wear on you. We work hard for a bucket on this team, right? We know Julius Randle usually pounds the rock, has to dribble 6 times before he hits a difficult fadeaway or makes a decision. Now, we know Tom Thibodeau doesn't have a very deep playbook offensively. That's how the New York Knicks succeed in their offense. So if that's what helps us win games, that's what he's going to do. But yeah, with guys like Quickley, DiVincenzo, Grimes, Barrett, they're more versatile. They're capable of playing bigger roles. So I think what Leon Rose should be looking at is obviously they've got their plan, like which players do we foresee being moved, which players do we see being a long-term piece, and everything this season should be done to prioritize like who we think is going to stay. And what I mean by prioritize is like, okay, you're getting more shots, like we're giving you more usage, all of those things. We're running maybe more plays for you, Grimes. We're running plays late for you in the game. Things like that, etc. Jet Life, salute. Yep. Also, yeah, outside of the continuity, the other factor is, yeah, we really don't know what the proper roster construction can look like in this era of the luxury tax. Yep. Yeah, it's like a lot of these executives get paid big money because it's like they're basically chess players, and the players are the chess pieces. So it's it, the players on the court, no doubt, they win the championship, they win the games. But it's the GM, the coaches, all those guys that put the pieces in position to win the games. So with that said, I mentioned like Denver, they were so tactical with their couple of stars that they drafted, younger players that they drafted to help, and also role players that they traded for, with Brown, Bruce Brown, with Eric Gordon, with KCP. They hit the nail with every single move. Basically, that fit. All those pieces really fit. So that's what's going to take to win this thing. Quiet says, asks how much stock do I put into this FIBA game? Great question, man. A lot's going to be talked about this. I think I'll put it this way. I put more stock into the team element of this thing rather than guys just going off. Let's say, for example, if a guy has a 30-point game or a guy fills the stat sheet with 15, 5, and 5, that doesn't necessarily mean that the 30-point game was better than the other performance. I think the FIBA game is different in terms of a lot of plays are ran. It's less isolation because teams go zone, all of that stuff, and I think the physicality prevents a lot of dynamic scorers from having 30-point games. Also, feel like the rules being different, the quarters are short. You're going to see less big time scoring. But having said that, man, I don't put much stock in terms of NBA playoffs and an NBA championship run. I think it's just so different. A lot of teams in the NBA don't really play defense. They just kind of cover the man, they cover you zonally, and they let you get shots off, I think. But in the playoffs, things tighten up so much. The pressure is big. And I think, that's ultimately the true test, not FIBA. But I do think FIBA can be good for like I said, preparing for a season, preparing for the grind, preparing to play with certain guys, playing as a team, or those kinds of things that could be helpful. Well, I'll get to Sharon's question first. That's a good question too. Who dribbles more, Randall or IQ? It could be different on any given night. I do feel like both of them dribble a lot at times, but I think neither of us really stand out to me more than the other. I really feel like Randall does pound the ball as much as Quickley does. Quite us, I think Brunson has to try to be more traditional in the point guard sense and look to get the teammates easier shots, better shot selection. Yeah, I agree with that. I think Brunson also knows he could get, the scoreboard ticking, and knows when we need offensive help. But there's another level he can get to, like you said, about finding the teammate, the open guy, especially late in the playoffs as well. Now, we have a little more offensive help with DiVincenzo. Let's see. I could say the same for Quickley as well. Chenzo should play backup point. Nath Knight backup 4, replacing Obi as the 9th man, and Windler could replace Fournier on the 10th man. Should be good for 52 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Great points. I love it. Now, yeah, Nathan Knight and Dylan Windler, I can't say anything about them other than they're a wild card. We don't know. They could be legit. They might not be. There might be another, another cautionary tale, like a Kenny Wooten, Ferron Hunt, those kind of guys. Lucas Samanic. What I do know is that those guys look like they've had more NBA good performances. They look more NBA ready. But yeah, fit's a big part. Health, all of those things. But I like the signings. They're very, very high upside signings in terms of if they're healthy, I think they're capable of giving us minutes. Like you said. For me, about DiVincenzo, I feel like Tom Thibodeau loves Quickley so much, and I feel like he's going to trust Quickley a lot. Now, DiVincenzo really might win Tibbs over as well, so that's going to be a situation where I think late in games, DiVincenzo's extra size, rebounding, defense could help. Maybe Josh Hart ends up losing some of those minutes as well. Let's face it, if you've got a choice between Quickley's offense and defense, DiVincenzo's offense and defense, and then you've got to choose between Hart's lack of shooting, but rebounding and defense, you're probably going to go with the shooters and defenders as well. So that, let's see, it's going to be fascinating to see whether or not Hart still finishes some games over Grimes or those guys. Shah Legacy, salute. Let's get it. How we feeling? Yeah, we talked about Deuce and Sims too, fam. Great young players, but yeah, good in their roles. But right now, unfortunately, we've made upgrades, and those guys just need to wait for their opportunities. I think Deuce will still play situationally. Tom Thibodeau still loves his defense. There might be an injury every now and then, hopefully nothing major. But I feel like Deuce McBride's swing skill, fam, is the shooting. Because think about it, if Deuce McBride continues to give us that dogged defense, but his three-point shot comes legit, man, for a cheap contract, that could allow us to really, trade these other guys. Jericho Sims, I think, is going to be that solid third-string backup center in the league for a little bit. But yeah, let's see whether he sticks. Yeah, it depends on the game, and I'm expecting a trade. Quiet says, in terms of like, look, Leon Rose. We talk about expectations, man, for the Knicks coming in. It's always great that us Knicks fans, we're positive about our chances this year. But what does that tell the front office? That tells them that there's a little bit more pressure. This team is better. This team has eyes on it. We have 25 to 20 national games. Now, this team is expected to be a top 4 team again. Now, with that said, there's little to no margin to regress. With that said, with expectations now, knowing we have draft picks to trade, we have young pieces we can trade if we need to. The expectation is to go all out now and make that second to third round again, at least. Obviously, guys can improve with their chemistry. Like, I expect Julius Randle to be in the All-Star again, all NBA consideration. And I definitely expect Brunson to be, All-Star, All NBA consideration. But they were that last year, so that's not going to change the needle a lot. What is going to be these younger players or the chemistry. Talking about better playbooks, better passing, better defense, better late game execution. Maybe better minutes distribution, closing games out better, maybe load management a bit. Those might be the things that really help this team get to the next level. It might not be 53 wins. It might still be 48 wins again. But ready for the playoffs, like ready when the crunch time, comes, and this team needs to beat a Boston in the second round, or maybe we need to beat Philadelphia in the second round. Remember, we faced the Heat in the second round. That was dubbed a favorable matchup. We might not get as favorable of a matchup in the second round this time. It might be one of the other, the teams that are expected to win. But I do think we're much better than Cleveland still. I don't think nothing's changed with the Cavs. I do think they've upgraded. I think I respect some of the moves they made with Strauss, with Niang. But the Knicks can still bully them. I don't see them finding a way to trump the Knicks in terms of like we rebound too well. We're capable of grinding and defending them well. And we're capable of scoring on them as well with their short backcourt. So yeah, I mean, they might see some struggles as well. We just don't know. They had a great regular season. They might struggle in the regular season. We don't know. Teams like Indiana are coming up. They've got pieces now. Atlanta might, with a new coach, might find a way to be more consistent. We'll see. But yeah, the East is going to be, I kind of like less margin for error, I feel. C-Dub, what's good? What are you hearing? How we been, fam? Yeah, I like your nephew, the Charlie's project, the Jalen Martin, the dude we picked up from Florida State. Yeah, he's a great undrafted signing. He looks legit in terms of someone we can develop. 6'6". He's a great wing guy to develop. He can get to the cup. He might impress people coming in. What's good, Shah? Feeling like the third draft pick. How do we draft a project? That's very frustrating. Yeah, we could talk. We could wax poetic about the Knicks' lack of draft luck. Throughout our whole time, man. It seems like when we do get in the top 4 of the lottery, it's not always a home run, or it's not a home run with KP. Yeah, RJ was consensus third, but there was a lot of people still feeling like, should DeAndre Hunter be considered? Should Darius Garland be considered? There was some debate about it. We missed out on Karl Anthony Towns when he was number 1. Yeah, it's just a lot of frustration around that. I think the Knicks have improved their drafting from later in the draft. That's helped us a lot. But yeah, I don't feel like we'll end up in the lottery for a long time now. I think trades, free agency is how we're going. Jackson McDermott, salute. Did you know Giannis might be going to the Lakers? We'll see what happens with Giannis, but yeah, he's putting pressure on the Milwaukee Bucks. I feel like he's open. He kind of strikes me as a guy who's open to changing teams. Like he's not like a Damian Lillard kind of one-team legacy kind of guy, because he was able to win a championship for the Bucks early. Now, if there was no championship, maybe the pressure would be to stay and to get it done, to get one done. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think LeBron's obviously the sun's setting with LeBron, his tenure in LA. We'll see what happens, right? They're always going to be a player in this. But I feel like Giannis is going to be more open. He's going to be that kind of guy that's like, if it gets to that point, he's going to tell Milwaukee. I don't think he's going to leave them high and dry. He's going to say, hey, look, the time's come, trade me now, or I'll leave, kind of thing. But yeah, they need help. But yeah, we look forward to the rest of this tournament coming up as we get ready to wrap this baby up tonight. We've been, going for a minute. Great conversations, talking about the New York Knicks in FIBA action, the upcoming season, the excitement of this fan base for what's to come. Like I said, man, I don't think we've come into a season with just as much expectation, except after the 54 wins with Carmelo, in 23, in 13, 2012-2013 season. So, yeah, we can feel great about this season coming up, but it's all about the playoffs for me. This team is building towards the future, and we'll see how the season goes. But right now, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, RJ Barrett, playing for their countries, will continue to wrap up and recap their performances. Right, training camps not far away. These guys are playing well so far, playing their roles, and going through it on the world stage. And a salute to the best chat in the biz. Great conversations, great questions, and smashing that like button. The streets are buzzing. RJ Barrett with Canada takes on Lebanon. Basically, in a matter of hours, we'll recap that after the next USA game. I'll take it, game as both teams play each game. We'll recap. But yeah, RJ should play better against Lebanon. France is a better team, but SGA is dominating. Jalen Brunson playing well, chipping in, and so is Josh Hart. We'll see what the stat line looks like on the next show. But yeah, peace. We'll get it on the next one. Salute, salute, salute.